Hey everyone, this is Alex USA Days, and we're continuing Playwright Automation with TypeScript, and we're in Module 5, and today we're going to talk about Playwright Assertions. So, Playwright Assertions validate whether the web page behaves as expected. If the actual state matches the expected result, the test passes. If not, it fails, indicating a problem. When making assertions, here are a few common things we usually check. Visibility. Is the element visible or hidden? Text content. Does the element include the right text? Attribute value. Does the element have a specific attribute? Count. Are the correct number of elements present? State. Is the element enabled, disabled, checked? Navigation. Did the URL change as expected? We're going to take a look at the documentation once we're done with slides, but you have the link on your screen. It's playwright.dev/docs/test-assertions. Now, there are some specific assertion types to consider. The default are auto-retrying assertions. Auto-retrying assertions will retry until the assertion passes or the assertion timeout is reached. Note that retrying assertions are async, so you must await them. So every time when you type out an assertion, you should start with await key. Non-retrying assertions, they allow to test any conditions but do not auto-retry. Can be used without await, but most of the time web pages show information asynchronously, and using non-retrying assertions can lead to a flaky test. So if you want to store data and then assert it later, that would be non-retrying assertion. Negating matchers. To assert the opposite condition, simply add .not before the matcher. The matcher is the method used to check a specific condition, like to be visible or to have test. So you just put .not to be visible, and then it means you're waiting for the element not to be visible. And the last one is soft assertions. Normally, a failed assertion will stop the test right away. But with soft assertions, Playwright lets the whole test suite run. And even if something fails, it will finish this test suite and then it will log the failure instead of ending the test right away. So we're going to see examples of this right now after we check the Playwright documentation. Okay, so here we are at the Playwright docs for the test assertions. One of the reasons why I'll keep pointing to the documentation is that the fastest way to figure something out on your own is to go to the documentation and read if you're not sure how to do something or search for an answer here. And it's a habit that needs to be acquired. So just get used to it. If you're trying to find a solution to a problem, when you're trying to automate something in Playwright and you're not sure how to do something, try documentation first. It's a good habit to have, and it will help you out to write your automation. Okay, so here we are in the assertions, and we start with the introduction here. And here we have auto retrying assertions. So all of those assertions, so to be attached, to be checked, to be disabled, to be editable, to be empty, to be enabled, to be focused, to be hidden, to be in viewport, to be visible, to contain text, to have accessible description, to have accessible name, to have attribute, to have class, to have count, to have CSS, to have ID, to have JS property, to have role, to have screenshot, to have text, to have value, to have values, to have screenshot. That's for the locator and that's for the page. Then for the page to have title, and then for the page to have URL, and for the response to be okay. So all of those say await. So they start with the await keyword, and all of those locators will keep on retrying to pass the assertion until the time runs out. So whatever your default timeout in the config, if within that spawn time it wasn't able to get this element to be visible, for example, or to find that text, then it will fail. Okay. Now, then we have non-retrying assertions, and to be close to be defined, to be falsy, to be greater than. So, like comparison operators, to be greater than or equal, to be instance of, to be less than or equal, to be nan, to be null, to be truthy, to be undefined, to contain. Strings and arrays both used to contain equal, to have lengths, to have property, to match object, to strict equal, to throw, any instance of class primitive, anything matches anything, array containing, close to, object containing string matching. So all of those assertions are non-retried. So when you use those, when you store some value during the process and you want to verify it later, maybe you're waiting for some other process to finish or there's a set of actions need to take place, then you can store something in the variable and then you can do the assertion later on and then just use expect and essentially you just grab a value from a variable and compare it to something, for example, right? Here are negated matchers. So this is dot not that you add before the matcher to essentially verify the opposite, right? So something is not visible, something does not contain text, and so on. And the last one that we're going to cover is the soft assertion. So you just, after the expect keyword, you just add that soft. And what it means, it will keep on running the test suite. And at the very end, it will still fail it, but it will go through all the steps first. Okay. There are some additional concepts here, like concept of custom expect message, um, expect to pass, adding custom matchers, and so on. But this is to be a little more advanced if you're just starting with Playwright, so I'm not going to cover those. Okay. So now let's get going with our assertions, have some examples. And once you master those examples, it will be enough for you to get started, to start verifying things and making sure, your page is showing what you expect it to show. Okay, so let's add a new file in our test folder. Let's create assertions.spec.ts. And let's start with importing. All right, so in our first test, we're going to have multiple examples of different assertions. So let's say test. Let's do login page assertions. All right, so async page. And first thing that we need to do is navigate to the page. So we're going to say navigate to the herokuapp.com login. So we are going here. All right. So once we navigated it, let's do the first type. So first we will do auto retry assertion. So auto retry assertions is the default behavior and will retry until timeout. Okay. And we will start with the wait keyword because again, it's asynchronous and we have to wait for something to show up. And we do expect. And then you can pick one of the auto retry assertions from the documentation. In our case, let's take the one that says to be visible. So we're going to grab a get page by role button with the name login to be visible. Let's take a look at the page. Inspect it. So it's a button, type submit, login. Let's grab instead header. So we're going to grab heading h2 login page. So going to do heading. So role is heading and the name is login page. So the text at the very top when the page load. All right. The second one, let's do non-retry. So non auto retry and assertions, and it will fail if the condition is not met. So first we can retry, we can assert the same heading, the same element right here. So this text, login page text, H2, but we want to store it first, right? So I'm gonna grab element, store the text of the element, and then assert it. This way, I will not gonna have to use await keyword when doing expect, right? Then doing actual assertions. So I'll say const. Let's do heading text, and we still have to wait for the element to load. So I will say page dot locator, and it's h2 text content. So I will wait for the element to load, and then I'll save the text content, and this text content will be now saved in the heading text. And then somewhere down the line, I need to do the assertion. I don't have to use auto retry anymore. I can just use expect. And we can use, for example, to be. So to be is one of the assertions that is not auto retrying. So I'll put in heading text and then to be login page. So I am still verifying the same exact text, but now instead of using to be visible, I am just making sure that this value, login page, was actually saved in this variable. Okay. Now let's do negative matchers. So negative or negating matchers. Okay. So when you try to log in and you have an invalid credentials, this element appears, and the alert has ID flash right here. So if the page is just loaded and you did not attempt to log in, the flash will not be there. So there's no error yet. So I can just assert that it's not visible. I can say await, and we will use auto retry assertion here. So await, expect page dot locator, and that will be ID flash. So we're using the CSS locator here, not to be visible. So we just added dot not before the matcher, before the method that is doing the actual verification, and that's it. That's all you have to do. And the last one is the soft assertion. Soft assertion. And the soft assertion one stop execution. If it fails, it will finish the whole test run. It will not immediately drop everything and abort. So you can say await, expect, let's do, okay, dot soft, and then let's verify the URL. So page to have URL, and the URL that it has login. Okay. So it means that there is a login here inside this URL. And we want to add one more assertion to just to verify that execution doesn't immediately stop when we have a soft assertion. So let's do last check. Just last check. So you'll see it pass. Last assertion that it passes post soft verification. So let's do await, expect, and we're gonna do get by role button, name login to be enabled. All right, let's try that. So last assertion, Okay, so let's try the set of tests here. We need to close this last parentheses. Okay, the test is now closed. Let's do npx playwright test dash dash UI. So we're going to run this assertion spec file. Here we have the UI, login page assertions from the assertions.spec.ts file. Let's run it. So hit run. So it goes to the link. So everything passes. Then it verifies that login page is visible with auto retry. Then it stores our text from the same element, login page, then verifies it with non-retrying assertion expect to be. Then it verifies that flash is not visible. Then it tries the soft assertion that URL has the login. And then it tries the last one. Okay, so it did get by role button name login. Okay, and it got the last element and it's enabled, asserting that the button is enabled. So everything looks good. Okay, so now let's fail this. And instead of login, let's say logins with S at the end. So the link is login, so it will fail. But because it's a soft assertion, you will see once the timeout passes, and again, your timeout, default timeout is in the Playwright config, right? So once this timeout passes, it will fail the step and then continues, and you see after the soft assertion, it still verified the button. So here is the assertion of the URL. It failed. You see it's in red. The whole suit, the whole test failed, but it still ran the test step after the URL verification because we have .soft. Now, if I will remove that and instead of .soft, I'll just do a regular expect, and we're gonna rerun the same thing, you will see it will no longer check for the button because as something fails with the regular assertion, it will immediately fail the whole test case without proceeding any other steps further. So let's rerun it. And you see the URL, it's waiting for it. It's auto retrying. Now it timed out and it failed. And you see we no longer do the button verification because there's no soft assertion here. It's just a regular one. And as soon as it fails, the whole test case fails. Okay, so let's bring everything back as it was. So soft assertion and login. So those are the main assertions that you can use. Now, one thing with the soft assertions, if you use all of the soft assertions, multiple steps with the soft assertions, you might also have a final check to make sure there's zero errors, right? So for that, we'll do test. I'm going to do a new test here, and let's do multiple soft assertions with final hard assertion. So it will be a final hard assertion that verifies that everything looks good. So we need to still navigate to the page. So I'm just going to grab this navigate. Okay, so let's do multiple soft assertions. So first, we're going to do the same exact thing. So await expect dot soft. So login page should be visible. We're asserting that. Let's do a soft assertion that flash is not visible. So dot soft for the ID flash has not been visible. And the last one, let's do the URL. Okay. Also soft assertion. So I have 3 soft assertions here. The final step is final hard assertion, where you want to store all the errors, and you can get errors if there are errors throughout the test case. You can do const errors. Errors. We're gonna store them in the errors, double R errors variable, and you can reach it by saying test.info dot errors, like this. Okay, so if there are any errors throughout the run, they will be stored in the errors. And then we're going to do expect. So this is non-auto retry assertion. Errors dot length. So it's going to be an array, and there should be zero elements in that array. So errors dot length, comma. Gonna use backtick. So there, where, and here I'm gonna just print how many errors are there. Errors dot lengths. Soft assertion errors to be 0. Okay. So let's close the whole thing, and I'll tell you in a second what we're doing here. All right, so I'm going to go through 3 assertions here. If any of them failed, they will be stored within the errors variable in an array. And then we will take a look at this array lengths. And I'm expecting this array lengths to be 0. Also, I will print out a message saying how many there are soft assertion errors. So if there is 0, it will say errors lengths 0, right? So this will be coming from the variable. Because I use the backtick, so it's before 1 on your keyboard. If you press Shift and the key before 1, it will do this like backtick element. And then you can insert a variable inside the string. So let me do test.only to show you how this works. I'm going to do just npx playwright test without the UI here. So we can see it in the console. Yep. npx playwright test. It's going to run, because I use .only, it's going to run just this particular test. Okay, and everything looks good. I can open up a report, npx playwright show report, multiple soft assertions with final hard check. So here is one assertion to be visible, then not to be visible, to have URL. So all of those 3, 1, 2, 3, they were executed. And at the very end, you have this message, there were 0 soft assertions errors. So this is coming from this last hard check that we put in. So what will happen if there will be errors? For example, we're going to update to have URL logins, and let's insert it somewhere in the middle so we can see the other assertions are still continuing. So I'm going to put it in between. So first it will verify it's visible, then it will verify the URL, and then verify not visible. This line 31 will fail, still going to continue with all the soft assertions, and at the end it will do the hard assertion, trying to make sure that there is 0 failures, 0 errors in this test, and we will see the printout with the message there was actually 1 error. So let's rerun this. npx playwright, let me clear it out, clear, npx playwright test, running. Okay, there's a failure. It's trying to auto retry on the line 31. Time out. There are going to be multiple retries in the config. Okay, it's doing them. And now, okay, fail. So it expected pattern logins. It got login instead. The whole string is shown here, this whole URL. Okay, multiple soft assertions shows that it failed on line 31. Good. And then here is our final hard assertion. There were one soft assertion errors. Expected 0 and received 1. The final hard assertion failed. We wanted 0 errors. Okay, so you will see there is a soft assertion fail that was on line 31 right here. The whole test run still fails because of it. But also at the very end, there is a hard assertion that makes sure that there actually zero any errors throughout the whole test run. Okay. So this is it. Type this whole thing out, run it on your own, take a look into documentation into other methods for the assertions that they have available. Try them out as well. And this is it. This was Alex USA Days. Hopefully you enjoyed the video, and I will see you in the next one.